Namaskar and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sattology, Debunking Mythology. Sat means truth, Logos means a study of science, Sattology means a science of truth, study of truth. And opposite of that is mythology, which comes from the root Sanskrit word called myth, which means a fake lie or imagination. Many words in Sanskrit comes from there, mithya, mithyachar, mithyahankar, many of it. But the root word is Sanskrit is myth. So when the foreign faith-based colonialists coined this term, they had only one purpose in mind: to prove to the Indians that their history is mythology. And the biggest irony is that today, in the US campuses, Abrahamic professors are claiming theirs is not mythology because we call that our history, our ancient history from India is Sattology, not mythology. So without delay, I have a very, very famous person, a ground-based activist. He has written many books, and one of the books I'm going to share with you after this show so that all of you can read it. We are going to talk about some core concepts, and I really appreciate all of you coming on our shows and trying to learn about the world's oldest culture. So without delay, let us welcome Sri J Nandakumar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. It's such a pleasure to have you and what you do, and I know you're very busy. So before we start off, there is a big controversy in the Western academic circles, not in Indian. And again, it's a Western created terms: Hindutva versus Hinduism. Now, it is almost drawing a parallel to Judaism versus Zionism. It's the same theory, same strategy going there. But if you can explain briefly what it means so that people can know, and then we can move on.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to address your global fraternity who are working for a great cause. Of course, this is an intellectual war, means the war of terms. We have to put our concept in a clear perspective. That's the need. Your very name, Sattology, I like it very much because there is a very big confusion in my mind when I heard about mythology. Mythology is very much related to myth, of course. Myth is mythak, it's untruth, very much kalpanik. So actually our history, our tradition, everything is related to Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Satyam comes from Sat. And when you are talking about studies related to Sat, it is simply wonderful. And I would like to congratulate all behind this great thought. Namaskar, first of all. So let us come to the point which you have raised. That is the confusion between the terms Hindutva and Hinduism. At the first place itself, I would like to say that for the several years or even decades, right from Vivekanandaji's period and Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, the greatest protagonists of our great Hindutva philosophy, when they were using this term, there was no confusion in their mind when they were using Hinduism. The concept was very much same. What which they have referred to us, Hinduism, is actually nowadays actually Hindutva, actually. But when it comes to the terms, the specific meaning of the term or the word, there are some confusion created by the colonialists. See, if you want to anglicize the term Hindutva, if it is that particular about anglicizing the term, it shall be Hinduness, not Hinduism. Because you see, Hindutva or Hinduism, there are two words. It is a compound, a mixture of two words, I would like to say. When you are talking about Sattology, it is Satta plus Logos, then Sattology. In the same way, Hindutva is Hindu plus Twa or Tattva. And in the same way, Hinduism is Hindu plus ism. Over the years, we have been using this wrong notion to connote the meaning of Hindutva. We coin terminologies with a specific purpose. When terms are coined by oppressors, I would like to say the oppressors, the colonizers, mostly it would be demeaning to the oppressed.
That's right.
The origin of Hinduism is also no exception in that way. We shall get it corrected at least for the future. So let us start the correction process, and Sattology is doing a great job in that way. The origin of this Hinduism word, fundamentally, when we are discussing about it, Hindutva is not a religion, as it cannot be confined to the Western definition of religion. The essential character of Hindutva itself is its natural tendency to go beyond the narrow meaning of ism. Ism is a closed book of thought. Ism is only a part. Ism is talking about onlyness. Only. They are saying when we are talking or adding ism to any word, it means that ideology is an onlyism. They alone are correct. So says, ism is a closed book of thought. It is used to form nouns denoting a doctrine or ideological movement. Hindutva is neither an ideology nor a dogma. It is a spirituality-based, all-inclusive, integral, and holistic view of life. In any way, we cannot add the suffix ism to Hindu, as it kills the very idea of Hinduness. Hinduness or Hindutva stands for also-ism. Ano bhadra kratavo yantu vishwataha. Let all noble thoughts come from any corner of the world. We are ready to accept it, provided that new thoughts shall not disturb the basic nature of our culture. Basic nature of the culture. Accepting everything. Universal inclusiveness. All these thoughts. When you are adding ism to that great thought, we are defeating that great fundamental thought. That's why we have to be very specific about Hindutva, and we have to correct this type of oppressing, demeaning, belittling techniques and machination of the oppressors. Thank you.
Very, very good opening statements, Nandakumarji. And also you said it very rightly. You know, when I ask, many of the big leaders of the American academic world are watching us right now. Now, when I ask people, why do you not call Christianism? Why? People do not have any answer for that. And you corrected it very well just now, because ism is a negative thought, just like calling Ramayana, Mahabharata, and other ancient scriptures as mythology. When we have proved it archaeologically, we have proved it astronomically, and we have also proved through various dating methods. In fact, to prove the Indian history, we have used more than 26 dating methods till now, whether ASI is working, and everyone has reached the conclusion that this civilization is more than minimum 10,000 years. Minimum. That is the minimum base mark. Even the worst of the critics, they have approved it also, the worst critics. But that kind of analysis has not been done. One of my next questions to you is, you put it very well. So when we talk Sanatana Dharma in a very common language, how does that relate to Hindutva?
I would like to quote Maharishi Aurobindo, the greatest, what you say, if you are saying the philosopher of Hindutva, Maharishi Aurobindo, when you are saying, when he was defining about the very nationality of this great nation, he was saying Sanatana Dharma is our nationality. So in that sense, Sanatana Dharma and Hindutva principles are synonymous as far as I am concerned. So Sanatana Dharma principles and values and all great traditional concepts are very much similar, very much synonymous. I am not saying even similar. It is as same as it is. Hindutva is the nationality of this great nation. It's another name only. In that way, we have to consider Sanatana Dharma. Whenever Swami Vivekananda also was talking about Sanatana Dharma, it was very much same. That's why his greatest speech, you must have heard about that. That is, who are Hindus? Who are Hindus? He was saying that he was explaining about the Sanatana Dharma values, and was saying that is the Hindutva principle. In that way, there is not at all any difference between Sanatana Dharma and Hindutva. Okay.
You gave me a new word today, Hinduness, and I love
Hindu.
it because it is the actual meaning of
And
Hindutva,
want to
Hinduness.
emphasize it.
Yeah, Hindu
It
Tattva.
cannot be
Hindu,
so.
that's right. Cannot be ism. And I think people, we have to ask the academics to start teaching the right way. Now, one of the things which I had put it out, that the colonial, you said in one of my first books, I wrote Faith Based Colonialists, because their main idea was propagating their faith. The second part was acquiring the land. And that's why they wanted the locals to leave the control of the land. And this is a global phenomena. Desmond Tutu very famously said, earlier they had the Bible, we had the land. Today we have the Bible, they have the land. It's Desmond Tutu has said it. And in South America, if you see, go to Wikipedia and see all the native cultures, Aztecs, Mayans, Incas are referred to as mythology. That means mythology means they are all to be sent to the museum. That's what the actual goal is, to be sent to the museum, and we can just go and see what our ancestors used to do. And this is how the Western faith-based colonialists destroy the local native culture. So in your viewpoint, Mahoday, how mythology has destroyed, or how the colonial imposition destroyed the native ideologies of the natives of India?
It's a beautiful question, and very much perfect, specific, I would like to say. See, when colonizers, the suppressors came here, they were approaching it in their own way, their own perspective. They were seeing everywhere in South America, and everywhere they saw the things and analyzed the things in their own definitions and their own framework of thinking. In that way, they thought that when a special way of life they met with here in Bharat, they thought in the beginning, I'm saying that they are not thinking something, they came here to colonize, so it is their purpose. So for that purpose, they thought that this way of life is nothing more or nothing less than religion. This is a religion. They were not aware about the greatness of a philosophy or view of life. In that way, they approached us. They tried to kill us. For that purpose, they have announced, they have defined our way of life in the very much exclusive, somewhat a closed thought type religious belief system and all. But actually, if you are taking the Western definition of religion and their faith system, ours is very much different from that. They were not able to understand it. That's why they were not able to destroy it also. Then in the second step, they tried to make us believe that our belief system, our traditional system of life, way of life, view of life are all misconceptions, they are all myths, they are untruth, they are primitive. And because of that baggage of primitive and wild theories and this all sort of untruth belief system, you are backward. Because Bharat's backwardness or poverty, which they are trying to put on our head, that all are the baggages which slowing down your pace, your process. So get away with that. Forsake it. Forsake all sorts of myths, your language, your belief, philosophy, all those things, your approach towards nature, your approach towards the agriculture, everything is primitive, and get away with it. You put away with it, forget it all. Then only you can progress. The very same thing they applied on us even after we attain freedom. From the great United Nations organization and all, they came up with a conclusion, they came up with an economic theory in which Bharat is affecting these type of backwardness, all because of our belief system, our darshanas, our philosophies. They are all baggages which is slowing down your pace in the way of progress. You cannot progress with these unwanted baggages of your tradition and your culture and all those things. In that way, they have passed the resolutions, resolutions. And in that process, they have put before some ideas that Hindu growth rate, even Hindu growth rate is, they have connected it with our darshanas, our Hindutva principles and all. So if you are following the Hindu growth rate, you cannot progress. That was their conclusion. But in the long run, they themselves found they were wrong. They were mistaken. When Angus Madison came out with his conclusions, and after his thorough research about the economic history of the whole world, he came up with the conclusion in his famous book that Bharat was the real leader of the economic world. The whole world was led by Bharat for at least 1800 years. He wrote about near about 2000 years of history. And later on, Dr. Lehman, type economist, came up with the conclusion that this greatness and this advancement and progressive nature of Bharat's economic system was solely responsible on or based on Hindu belief system. So that was the real reason. Our karma siddhanta, our punarjanma siddhanta, our work and Gita principles, Vedic principles and Upanishad principles are the very reason of our progress. So all their conclusions, first of all, they said that your progress is being blocked or slowing down because of your belief system, your tradition, your Hindutva and all. So get away with it. And even if we attained freedom, after attaining freedom also, the very same principles they have tried to put on our head through so many means. But later on, it all became wrong, and they found themselves that they were mistaken. So in this way, this colonial mindset people, those people who are colonized, not yet decolonized, are still doing the very same business. I don't want to name anyone, but you know better than me, those forces who are AP or following the colonial master's way, or very much happy in continuing in this colonized mindset nature. They are still talking about that. But the true Hindutva Wadis Shabda, I don't know how far it is correct, but it's those who are following the Hindutva principles are believing that on the basis of our Hindutva economic system, Hindutva environmental system, Hindutva approach towards the money, that is the way through which we can progress. That has been proved true by many researchers also.
You gave very important facts, and in fact, I've also written books on that. Before 1919, when Afghanistan was cut off, Kabul was the hub of economic activity, was a very rich land. Before 1947, when Pakistan was cut off by the British colonialists, and they were faith-based colonialists, they were not innocent, they were not here for promoting India. No, they were promoting their own money. They wanted to earn money from this land. It was a rich country. Bangladesh, before it was cut off, it was a rich country. So the entire theory of Hindu rate of growth was a bad propaganda, just like the Hindu terror, on which RVS Mani wrote a very beautiful book on that. Yes. And so all this propaganda is there, but very few people realize I am an American citizen, and I can speak openly about America. There is a huge mispropaganda against the Hindu culture and the Hinduism from the American campuses, and which is a very stark. My question to all the people who are watching is that all these terms or the negative preaching, like how can a Christian pastor be teaching Hinduism to Americans? And that is there in 90% of the American schools, 90%. So, not a single traditionalist is ever recruited. And my question to all of them is why? Why is not happening? Now, my next point is we have spoken. One thing I really love on what you do is seva. I really like that, the service attitude, which is the hallmark of Sanatana Dharma as well as Hindutva. So, how do you emphasize seva over, many people talk a lot, but they don't do anything on the ground. They just speak and they go out and they give big talks, but on the ground, their life is different than what they actually are talking. So, what do you have to say the emphasis of seva in Sanatana Dharma and Hindutva? Seva means service for many people who don't understand. Yes.
Again, I would go back to none other than Swami Vivekananda. Once he was defining the very basic ideals of this great nation. Swami Vivekananda was a great social scientist also in that sense. He has defined the very nation, Hindu Rashtra. What are the basic principles of this nation on which this nation was formed? The nation Shabda word itself is a misnomer. Rashtra is the apt word. Okay. See, what are the basic principles? The wonderful definition. You may be knowing, those who are hearing me also may be aware about that great definition. Renunciation and service are the national ideals of this nation. If you want to strengthen this nation, you have to strengthen her in those channels and rest will take care of itself. Unquote. See, the beautiful definition of the national ideals and how you have to, especially the youngsters, have to work to strengthen this nation, specifically defined that renunciation and service, samarpan or seva, or tyaga or seva, are the basic ideals of this nation. Every nation is being built up or formed on a specific seed idea. As far as Bharat is concerned, the seed idea is renunciation and service. Renunciation and service, or samarpan and seva, are the two sides of the great principle dharma. Dharma's two principles. Dharma in action is service, and dharma as a principle is the tyaga. It is an amurta concept. Amurta means having no body. This tyaga or samarpan bhava is in my mind. And when I act according to that great dharmic principle of tyaga, that is seva. So as far as Bharat is concerned, Bharat's basic nature, basic value is seva, and that is according to the dharma of Bharat. Dharma of Bharat. See, a simple example I would like to present before you. In each and every households in Bharat, we were keeping so many photos. Natural, ordinary families are keeping photos, and we do worship so many great personalities of our years, our past. Who all are they? We are worshipping Nabi, Shibi. We are worshipping great Rajakumara Jimutavahan. We are worshipping great rishis. What all are the qualities? The basic quality is seva, doing something, the highest renunciation, highest samarpana for others. What did Shibi do? Shibi gave his whole body to a pigeon to save the pigeon's life from a kite. So I don't want to elaborate all the story. You are aware about all this. He wants to save its life. For that, he has to see the kite's, kite has got the right over its prey. So he wants something. He wants to eat something. So for that purpose, he gave his own bodies. That's why Shibi is still Shibi Chakravarti, the great emperor of Bharat Hindutva history. He gave away the whole flesh of his body to the kite in order to save the same way Jimuta Vahana gave his own body to a snake. So many such stories are there. We are worshipping, we are adoring, we are respecting those personalities who gave away everything for the welfare of the great, the society, the persons, even fly, birds or even animals. They used to give their body. That's why if you are seeing the if you are going to the what is the Martian principle regarding the world, they used to say that the whole world is divided into two haves and have nots. There is a perpetual war in between haves and have nots, and have nots have to win. That is the class struggle principle also. Okay. But as far as Bharat is concerned, Bharat is living on the basis of the dharma. Dharma means what? It came out from the root of the word of dharma is dhr, which means to support, hold, or bear. And the basic principle is tena tektena bhunjita. And on, if you want to take something, you have to do dedication also. So that's why when Bharat is seeing this particular principle of haves and have-nots, here in Bharat there is a third group also, and that third group is the creative minority which led this great nation. That is that group is, yes, here also haves and have-nots are there, but here a particular group is there. They have got enough. They were rich, or they are able to acquire more, but still they left everything for others. They have everything, but they had everything, but they left everything for others. That is the third group. That's known as, another name is rishis. Those who are living according to the Sanatana Dharma principles, those who are serving others. That's why from that principle only we formed the great slokas like Sarve Santu Niramaya.
Yes, you can unmute your. Yes, please. Go ahead.
It is over. Sorry. So all these principles and the great slokas were formed on this principle. Not a single person will remain in the world as a person having illness. There shall not be amaya. Amaya means dukkha, yoga. All must be sukhis. Sukhis means they are those who are feeling comfortness, welfare. That is our principle. So that is why they are ready to forsake everything for the welfare of the others, to serve others. So serve or seva. Seva is being considered, it is to be considered as a dharma or duty of ourselves. Duty. See, seva is also seva dharma. Seva is parama dharma. That is another principle of ours. So this service word itself has got some bad connotation. I don't want to go after it, charity or service and all. But when we are saying seva, it has got a perfect, pure, sacred meaning. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa once said, when in his ashrama, the regular meeting was going on in between the with the shishyas, all sort of shishyas, sannyasi shishyas and grihasthi shishyas, household owners also. But one day, one particular gentleman, one particular grihastha shishya, family man, came late. And after the bhajana and all, Paramahamsa, as usual, inquired him, why you were late today for the arati? And he said with the pride on his mind, in his face, he said that one person who was living, who was residing next to my house was suffering. He's very poor. So I went to serve him. That was his word. So he was very much sure that Paramahamsa will congratulate him. But the attitude of a Hindu Sanatana Dharmi yogi, what does it say? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa closed his eyes. He was feeling that his ears are being pierced with some nails or something. He was suffering. Hearing that words of his shishya, who was saying with pride that I went to help my neighbor. Rameshwaramsa, in that unconscious or subconscious level, he asked him from that condition, help? Who Who are you to help? Who are you to help? You have to respect, you have to worship that man who resides next to your house for giving you an opportunity to do seva, say, do your duty to him. You have to respect him, worship him, because he is the Devata. You have worshipped him. In that way, you have to see when you are doing something for others, it must be dharma. Dharma means duty also. That is holding us together. This is the greatest principle. No one from West has taught us the great principle of charity to us in our DNA, in our blood. That was the very principle of this great nation, Swami Vivekananda. That's why he defined it as renunciation and service. That is the two sides of the great coin dharma.
Bhagavad Gita says Jnana, Tapa, and Dana. Yajna, Tapa, and Dana should not be given up by even intelligent people. Pavanani Manishina. It purifies even the Manishi, the most thinking individual also. Now, you mentioned very important points about the charity, which is very true. Papal bull in 6th century CE, Common Era, was introduced by the Vatican to collect money for them. That was, it is called charity. The money given to the church is called charity. Rest everything is not charity. But Dan is a different principle altogether. And most of the Americans don't know it, therefore I said it. So this is the principle. And there is a big movement, even in the West, from decolonizing themselves from the imposition of faith sellers. These are the faith sellers. They say, believe in me, you will get salvation. But they themselves cannot get salvation on their own, because it comes through a very essential topic called karma, which you said it very well just now on seva, essential duty. Now, coming to the point of debunking many of these colonizing words like charity, which you said it rightly, mythology, which is said, it used to pain my heart when Indians in the West would say, according to my mythology. They're just saying, according to my fake stories or my imaginary stories. That's what they're saying when they say that word. That's why we had to invent the word Sattology. Now, the point that comes to the mind is, Sanatana Dharma is a collective heritage of the entire humanity, not just India. There are in USA, and there are Hindus from USA, American Hindus are there, the Hindus from Fiji, Hindus from Pakistan, Hindus from Europe, and Hindus from South America. More and more people are adopting these principles for the same reason, that because it opens up their mind. I have a very common saying, generally I tell people, is that your Bible can tell you what you need to do, but Bhagavad Gita lets you find out yourself. It doesn't tell you what to do. It empowers you. So therefore, the great scientists have come from Sanatana Dharma. Knowledge base, Aryabhat, Brahmagupta, all the numerals have come from there. Now, according to you, what is the way in which we can tell to the West the origins of science, origins of the culture based on the Atma, is the basis for long-term peace and happiness? What do you would like to say?
That's a great question, which cannot be explained within a short span of 2 or 3 minutes. But still, see, the modern science is also going in that very direction, in which the very principle which made us, which in a way keep us together, the whole world and the whole universe is being made, and that particular energy is present in each and every body, in every personalities, even you may say inanimate and animate beings of this whole world. This is the very principle which we understood, our forefathers understood in the Vedic period itself. So you may be very well aware about the great Upanishad known as Kathopanishad, in which it was this particular principle has been explained, that the Paranji Khani Vedranat Swayambhu, Tasmat parang pashyati nandaratman kaschit dhira pratyagatmana maikshat avritta chakshur amritatvamichan. That particular sloka can be interpreted as a very significant turn in our philosophical way. You see, when our five indriyas, senses, it is always looking outside, seeing outside, tasting outside, or smelling outside things. So always when we want to acquire some knowledge, we always use our indriyas or senses, nose, tongue, skin, and everything, eyes and everything, five indriyas. We are acquiring knowledge from outside by seeing, by being extroverts. So we were trying to, from the beginning, we were trying to acquire knowledge from outside. We were looking outside. But at a particular moment in the history of Bharat or Hindu philosophy, one Dhira yogi, he came to the conclusion that the real reason of the existence of ourselves and the whole universe, the real reason is not outside. Because through the eons, through several years, several centuries, they were seeking the truth. But truth is not in the outside. Truth is inside. So he turned his senses, or all the, indriyas, to inside. Kaschit dhira pratyagatmana maikshat. He turned his eyes inside. And then he came to the conclusion that the real truth is glowing inside me. That Amrita Tattva, that eternal truth is glowing inside me. That is the Atma, and it is outside. Outside also, when we are seeing light, the reason of that light is inside me. So nowadays, the modern science is also saying all we are seeing outside is inside also. In that way, things are going in favor of the Sanatana Dharma, or very much supporting the Sanatana Dharma principles. See, when we are the current problems when we are facing, where we can find out the true answers, the clear answers for the current day problems. If you are saying, say, the religious fight or the communal clashes or the religious fanaticism, it's a very great dangerous menace through which the whole world is going through. What is the true answer to that question? It is in the Sanatana Dharma, wherein which, when we are saying Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskaram keshavam prati gacchati, where is the chance of fighting each other? Our principle is that, like rain, water was brought to the earth through rain, and that water is being collected in ponds or their lakes, then it will form into rivers or springs. But through whatever way it flows, it will ultimately reach the great ocean. Yatha gacchati sagaram. It will go to the ocean. So what is the purpose of fighting each other and saying that my way alone is the right way? Through that way, through my faith only, you can attain the salvation. What's the purpose of that? But the Sanatana Dharma principle is saying that every way has got its own truth in them. So don't want to fight each other. You have to accept your own way. See, environmental problem which we are facing now. How can you solve this environmental problem through a Western way? I'm not belittling any thought outside or inside Bharat or everywhere. But you please see what biblical thoughts are saying, what biblical thoughts are teaching us, why this great earth was, or this Srishti was begun, for whom? For Manushya. They were saying in that way also. I don't want to go much deep into that, but they are saying that the whole universe, this great Garden of Eden, was made for you. For you means for you, Manushya. And you can go and enjoy, eat, drink, and be merry. Only thing is that you may not eat that fruit of knowledge. Here in Bharat, we used to say that it is not your right to be always eat and drink and marry. You have to, what you say, think about the knowledge always. That fruit of knowledge is to be, what you say, experienced. You have to take it. That's the way in which we are saying. And also when we are talking about the surroundings, we used to say that your surrounding is your identity. Your surrounding is a living being. Environment is a living being. The nature is a living being. Nature is Mata. River is Mata. Tulasi is Mata. This approach is necessary to solve the great environmental havoc which we are passing through. Lot of things. I would like to mention the great principle which has been revealed by the great poet T.S. Eliot in his Wasteland. The Wasteland, that beautiful poem, mystic poem it is. It has got 5 parts. In the last part, he very well explained about a particular anecdote, story of our ancient times. That was explained in Brihadaranyaka, in which he was saying, in that poem he was saying, the background of Wasteland, when he wrote it, everything you are very well aware about the fact. After First World War and also the Spanish influenza, lot of problems were there. Crores and crores were dying like flies at that time, and the whole world is transforming into a wasteland. In order to save yourself from that wasteland, to become flourish, you want to flourish yourself. He was saying a particular principle is to be followed. In that way, he is putting Brihadaranyaka story. Men, devas and asuras, demons, gods and men, all 3 went to Brahma for Upadesha. Brahmadeva, the creator. Brahmadeva gave an Upadesha in one word. That word was da. Da. Ta, dha, da. In D-A, da. Only one word has been given as Upadesha. But Manushas, means human beings, they interpreted it in that way that we have to follow the Dana principle. Da means, for us, its full form is Dana. Dana means giving everything for others, giving, helping others, serving others. All comes under Dana, has been explained previously also. Okay. And when devas or gods heard this word da, they came to the conclusion that the grandfather is teaching us the word dhamma. Dhamma means the control over senses. See, devas were like that at that time. Because of their wealth and everything, they became sensuous, and it was the reason of all sort of disaster. So in order to overcome this disaster, in order to progress well in forward, for that purpose, we have to follow the great principle of Dhammatva or Dhamma, or control over senses. When asuras or demons got this da shabda, da word, they interpreted that we have to be dayalus. Daya means what? Mercy to others. Because asuras, because of their strength and everything, they used to attack others, kill others. So that's the reason of the disaster, danger which we are facing in the whole world is transforming into wasteland. In that way, if you want to overcome this problem, Eliot was saying, we have to follow Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Marga. Peace, 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 peace for everything. Peace not only for the universe, all sort of things existing even beyond the universe have to be peaceful. For that purpose, Da is necessary. Dana, Daya, or that Dhammatva, control over senses, be mercy to others, give everything to others. So every way in this dangerous period of the pandemic, now we are all facing that dangerous period. Here also I would like to remind you all about Wastelands, that great poem which Eliot has written. So in this way, Sanatana Dharma principle, as you said clearly, that Sanatana Dharma principle is not only confined for the people who are living inside Bharat. It is for the whole universe. Those principles are most, filtered. It cannot be, find anymore. It is a very much fine principle, which is very much can be followed by the whole world, the whole universe. Every man can follow this principle. It hasn't got any tag of any particular religion or a particular nation. It's for the whole world. It is the universal principle. In that way, that eternal principle are to be followed.
You put it so well that the Sanatana Dharma or Hinduness principle is for the entire humanity. It brings peace within and peace outside, both. Because what we have seen so far, ever since from the papal bull has been launched, there has been exploitation everywhere. And the only one culture which has never exploited anyone is this principle which you just explained. And you also correctly differentiated dana from charity. Charity means giving money to the church or the land to the church. Everywhere we have seen natives of the lands, aborigines in Australia are destroyed, natives of South America have been destroyed, and also natives from India somehow have been protected by the great traditions of India. Somehow the traditions have played a big role, and these traditions exist even today. They have not disappeared anywhere. So this is my last question. I can go on talking with you for hours, but I'm going to stop here for the benefit of the audience and for your time, respect your time as well. So one of the principles in Sanatana Dharma is 3 types of charity, 3 types of dana based on the guna, and 3 types everywhere. The three types are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Now, one principle that you would like to say to tell to the audience is, one of the principles is bhaya. The bhaya has been used extensively by the faith-based colonialists to scare the people and then extract as a sovereign guarantee. But in Sanatana Dharma, bhaya is never sold. Like, we do not want to scare anyone. The loka samastu sukhina bhavantu. We want everyone to be happy and peaceful, but not out of fear. Other people, it's like a weekly. In Hindi you call it hafta. In America you call it lobbying. It's the same thing. Lobbying and hafta is the same thing. That if you give me money, I'll protect you. But our principle is Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam, like you quoted from Ishopanishad earlier also. So how this bhaya is being sold, and how Sanatana Dharma can free us from all kinds of fear?
See, the basic principle of our Upanishadic teaching is Abhi. Vivekananda used to continuously say, Abhi, be Abhay, and without fear you live. No fear. Yes, of course, you have to fear about Satya. You have to fear about the Sattology in that sense. In your Sattvic principles, you have to be very careful about yourself. So that's why we never threaten anyone. We never frighten anyone. If you do so, you will go to Naraka. Never. We never threaten anyone. But in the Sanatana Dharma principle, Swami Vivekananda also said that Abhi means fearlessness. Fearlessness is the basic principle of Bharatiya. We shall only bend our heads, our shiras, before Satya only. Satya is the Devata before us. Satya. Before that only we bend or obey. Nothing else. Nothing. That's why this great nation always worshipped this Abhaya principle. That's why we used to give Abhaya to others also. We became Abhaya. In that way we will proceed. And also we gave all sorts of Abhaya. Abhaya has got 2 meanings. Without any Bhaya, you can come here and you can seek refuge here. Refuge means in the, final analysis, it is also an Abhaya sthiti. So as far as Sanatana Dharma is concerned, we never threatened, we never frightened anyone with the help of faith, religion, or swords even. We never took swords or weapons and made invasions to other countries. That is not the history of Bharat. But as far as other the so-called traditions are concerned, those so-called nations are concerned, they always use their faith isms to threaten, frighten others, saying that if you are coming with us, well and good. If not, you'll be finished. In Jammu Kashmir, in the beginning of the 80s, there was a slogan in Bharat by a particular group of people that relieve, galive, or chalive. Relieve, galive, or chalive means what? Relieve means if you come with us, if you are converting yourself to our belief or our faith, well and good, you can live here. Otherwise, galive means to perish. You have to perish yourself. You'll be killed. That is frightening, that threatening. And of course, if you have got some dam in your mind, some sort of energy in your body, you can run away from here also. So this relieve, galive, chalive principle is the faith principle. That is those principle or those approach is based on totally frightening others. On the basis of bhaya, they are living. But as far as Bharatiya principle is concerned, Sanatana Dharma principle is concerned, we always based ourselves on the reverse. We based on our principle on Abhi. Abhi is the short form of Abhaya. Upanishad is repeating this Abhi Shabda n time. Kitna bar batate hai, how many times it is being repeated. That's why Nachiketas was ready to go to Death's palace. Nachiketas, the Kathopanishad, the main person, Nachiketas, a small boy, when his father said him, because out of some sort of fury, father said that go. He used to ask questions to his father, and father said at last he was not able to answer the questions, and so father asked Nachiketa, you go and ask Yamadharma. Yamadharma means the god of death. That means the death. As far as other people are concerned, death is the greatest frightening moment of any person. But here a small boy, our Purvika, went to the death's palace, death, Mrityu Dev's palace, and asked him, waited there till Yamadharma came and asked him a number of questions. That is the way in which we were proceeded. Here we have got the rishis who drank the 7 oceans. Here we have got the god who jumped to the Surya to swallow it. Here we have got the gods who even fought against Devas for the welfare of the humanity. That's our principle. Here we have got a Raja cross the oceans to fight against the greatest dangerous demon of that time, Ravana, with the help of monkeys, only because he was he was not at all afraid of anything adharmic. So dharma, okay, well and good. Duty, truth, it is to be seen in the proper perspective. Other all bad elements, we shall not be frightened, and also such persons will not threaten anyone also. On the basis of his belief system, he will not try to conquer anyone. That is the greatest principle of Abhi. That is the Upanishad principle. Abhaya.
Thank you so much. And in the end, I would like to say, Bhayam Dvitiya Bhiniveshata Syat. This is told by Yamraj to Yamduta.
Yes,
The names of Hari, even the fear personified is fearful of the name of Hari. So that is the biggest principle we have. And also one of the things which comes to the mind is, you said very well, that we are hard on ourselves but soft on others. Vacho vega, manasa, krodha vega, jiva vega, udarupasta vega, etan vegani vishayeta dhiya sarvam. So dhira definition is very clearly given in our culture, and that's a great value addition to most of the people who are watching also, because Sanatana Dharma talks about all these principles, and that's Sattology, that's truth, because anybody can practice it, whether you can embody these principles yourselves. So before we end the talk, would you like to send a message And I'd like to invite you again for these discussions, because I can go on talking with you for hours on this. Would like to send a message to all the audience that we have global.
Well, I'm also very much privileged to be here with you in this wonderful, meaningful discussions. And also from yourself, I heard that it is being seen and heard and experienced by lots, thousands of students who are very much students and academic community who are very well attached to this great principles of theology. Good. Namaskar to all. So be fearless. Go ahead. That is the great principle of our what you say, Sanatana Dharma, Bharata, and the whole world. Like-minded, pure people are always on the side of these dharmic principles. Be there, fearless. And also, there is a very big battle of narratives are going on here. Someone are trying to create the false narrative and trying to suppress you, and your thinking ability itself is being suppressed by those people who are controlling the narratives. So come out of it, create the true, real, ideal narrative through proper terms, and we have to continue that great work. Be in a way, you have to become a Bauthika Kshatriyas. Bauthika Kshatriyas. Yeah, that is my message to you all. Thank you for inviting me again and again. Namaskar, and I'm pleased to come. I would like to come to you again if you can.
You put it so well, because the narratives is built on terms, and our rishis gave us great terms: dan, tapa, and yagya, which is great terms are there, very deep meaning. Somehow the meanings, when you translate them into English, it loses all relevance. So we'll have to promote our own terms, which is important, and that's why we created the term Sattology, to challenge mythology. So like that, many other terms need to be created, which West can also understand. Namaskar and thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you, everybody.